Hello, I'm Damon Bailey from IELTS Whiz. In this lesson, we will examine multiple choice questions for the IELTS listening test. So let's look at the features of multiple choice questions. For the multiple choice section of the listening test, you're usually given a choice of 3 answers and you need to choose the correct one, A, B, or C. Sometimes you will be provided with an unfinished sentence and given 3 possible answers or words to complete the sentence, A, B, or C. You will have to choose which of these is correct. Normally you will find these types of questions in parts 2, 3, and 4 of the listening test. Because you are given options to choose from and one of them is correct, these are the most difficult of all the IELTS listening test questions. The later in the listening test you go, the harder the questions will be. Sometimes you may need to choose more than one answer for each question. So how should you answer multiple choice questions? Always read the instructions carefully. Make sure you know how many answers you need to choose for each question. Sometimes it may be 1, but occasionally it may be more than 1. For example, choose 2 letters from A, B, C, D, or E for your answer. Look to see if the listening has a title. If it does, start to think about the types of vocabulary you may be listening for, or anything you already know about this topic. For example, if the person in the listening is booking a holiday, you may hear words like reservation, tour, insurance, visa, quote, package, or discount. Read through all the questions. You will be given a short amount of time to do this before you hear the recording. Underline the keywords in the question and think of possible synonyms. Take note of any short phrases and think of how they could be paraphrased. For example, synonyms you could use for the word approximately could include about, around, or close to. Paraphrases for will pay up to could include the maximum I will pay, the most I will pay, I won't go higher than $150, I won't pay more than, or my budget is. Read through the different choices in the answers. This will tell you what you are listening for. For example, how many members does the club currently have? 25, 50, or 70 members? You are obviously listening for how many members the club has now. But remember, you may hear all of the answer options in the recording, so the first answer you hear may not be the correct one. So let's look at some tips to help improve your score. I recommend students put a tick beside the answer they think is correct, but then keep listening closely to ensure they've chosen the right answer. I also suggest putting crosses next to any answers you know to be incorrect. Practice reading multiple choice questions and underlining keywords in the questions. Then observe the differences between each answer choice. Your reading skills and your attention to detail are also being tested during the listening test. Never spend too much time on one question. If you are not sure of an answer, take your best guess and move on. If you spend too long on one answer you are unsure of, you may lose where you are in the recording and miss the next 3 or 4 answers. It's better to get this one question wrong than to miss the next 3, so take a guess and keep following the recording. When you are given time to read through the next section, make sure you read all the questions and get a good understanding of what they are asking. Do not check your answers from the previous section. You get 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet at the end of the test. This is when you should check your answers thoroughly. Be careful when you transfer your answers to the answer sheet because your answer should be a letter and not a word for multiple choice questions. Make sure you write your answer beside the correct number on the answer sheet. So let's look at some of the difficulties people often face when answering multiple choice questions. There are some things you need to be careful of, as it's very easy to make mistakes if you're not aware of them. Firstly, you may hear all the words. It's very likely that when you listen to multiple choice questions, you will hear all the given answers. So you need to be patient and listen carefully to what is being said. Make sure you do not simply circle the first answer you hear, and that you listen for other words around the answer to make sure you get the correct one. For example, last year the price was $30, but it recently went up to $35. It's still a good time to buy though, because it's likely to increase again to $40 in the new year. The answer choices are often very similar to one another. Also, the information that's given in the recording may be very similar, so you need to pay attention to the small details and differences between the choices. Most of the words and phrases in the written questions will be different from the words or phrases you hear in the audio during the listening test. Short phrases will normally be replaced by other phrases with the same meaning. Key words in the question will often be synonyms for the answers. For example, if 2 weeks is written in the question, you may hear fortnight in the audio recording. Or if in the question it says get to the train station early, in the recording they may say get to the station prior to the scheduled departure time. Make sure you're not listening for exact matches for words or phrases in the questions, because it's highly likely they will be synonyms or paraphrases. Sometimes the speaker may give an answer and then take it away or correct themselves, so extra care is needed when this happens. They may then add to what they have said with new or additional information. If the speaker uses words such as used to, not, but, or however, it may mean an answer is coming which is incorrect. For example, the club was small with only 25 members, but not anymore. In recent times, we got nearly 50 new members, and membership has now reached 70. So membership of the club is currently at 70 members. Now you can try a sample listening exercise to practice this type of question. Download the practice questions, then listen to the audio file and try to complete the activity using the tips and strategies you've learned in this video. When you've finished, download the answer key and check your answers. In the next listening lesson, we will look at matching tasks, so I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.